Hello, welcome to Mithral Brews. My name is Chris, and I consider myself a digital DM. I created Mithral Brews to help fellow DMs harness digital tools for smoother game prep and richer storytelling beyond the pen and paper. I frequently come across new users working with Foundry VTT, my preferred platform for running D&D sessions, who feel overwhelmed trying to set up their play environment or migrate content from other tools. Many dive into modules before understanding how the core system works, which can lead to confusion and frustration. I know because I was there. I sat there for 6 to 8 months before I started using Foundry. In this video, I'll walk through a basic introduction to Foundry VTT. This kicks off a series where I guide you step by step through using, importing, and creating content for Foundry. I'll start with the D&D 5e system, which I've used extensively for the past 4 years. Later, I may explore other systems I've worked with or those requested by viewers. For now, we'll focus on setting up the play space and crafting environment, something I call the brewery. In future videos, I'll show you how to build and share your own brewed content across game worlds, whether it's official material you've customized or homebrew creations with your own personal ingredients. First thing we need to do is install the game system you plan on running. Go to Install. We're going to search for Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, as that's where most of my video demonstrations will revolve. Click Install and wait for it to unpack the system. Go to Game Worlds. Click Create World. Here we will give it a name. I like to choose the setting I'm playing in, the day of the week, and time of my game sessions in this world. Now we will select the system that we are going to use with this world. I'm using Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, but if I had others installed, they would all show up here. Once a system is chosen, this cannot be changed after the world is created, so choose wisely. We will then choose the Join Page theme of default. Now, hit the Create World button. And there you go. You have your first game world set up. Now we will go launch the world. Here you will see you have a login screen that shows all the details about the world that we could have changed when setting it up, like description, next session, how many players are available to join in the world. We could also return to setup if we want to make changes. I'll show you how to change all this once you get into the world. But for now, only users are the game master, and you won't have a password just yet. Once you've loaded into your world, you will likely be presented with a guided tour and a starting screen. If you're seeing what I'm seeing, then you need to reset that. The tutorial walkthrough is a very important part of understanding how to use and what the layout of the Foundry system is, and it's important to go through it. So let me show you how to reset. All right, for those of you who have either skipped the tour or need to reset it, I'm going to go over here to game settings. I'm going to go to tour management. You'll see the ones that you've watched. I would recommend resetting the defaults, hitting yes. And now you will be able to watch them. Here's what you'll do. You'll close the window, stay in settings, return to setup. You will come back and you will see the guided tour for the setup screen also. Going through this will eventually get you to some of the same information I've put in earlier part of this video. But if we launch back into our world, go to join session, you will see that now you have your background and you'll have the tour set up. I recommend pausing the video here if you're walking through this guide with me and coming back when you're done. I'll assume all the video after this is that you've gone through the guide and you know the different terminologies, such as the sidebar, the canvas tools, the hotbar. All right, now that we have our play world, the first thing we need to do is add a player. We're going to go over to our sidebar, click Game Settings, click User Management, and here you are. You'll have your Game Master and a password that you have not set up yet, and of course the role of Game Master. Here, change it to whatever you like. I like Dungeon Master or DM. Put in a password. I just use a pen. and then create additional user. You can create additional user for each one of your players, put in their name, give them a password or PIN, and change their role from player to trusted player or assistant game master. For now, we're just going to leave player. I do recommend username being something, it's either their actual name, their Discord name, but whatever you do, don't use character name. We'll see why in the future. If we click on configure permissions, it will allow you to see what user tool rights you're giving your players depending on the role you assign them. But you can also adjust the default choices. As you go through this, you will learn that it makes sense sometimes just to make them all trusted players, add a few extra things, because players don't have a whole lot that they can do. Here are my recommendations, but they're just the way I set up my players. I don't really use the broadcast audio video, so I skip that. I don't bother turning it on or off. I just leave it as is. Configure token settings. Allow users with this role to configure the settings for tokens they own. I want to make sure that players can make changes that they choose to make. I want them to be able to create actors. I don't want to build all their characters for them. Don't really need them controlling the playlist and the sound. Don't really use cards at all in my system. If I want them to create items, I could turn that on, but really I try to control that. I wouldn't say control that, but I limit that to just myself. If I come down here, I want them to be able to create tokens and delete tokens. This is useful if they are summoning or doing wild shape. Further down, modify configuration settings. I don't want them messing with that. Uploading files, not necessary, but some people might allow that if your players have specific player images or they know how to make tokens for themselves. Giving them the ability to upload files might be handy. I like them having things like draw tools and being able to whisper private messages. But as you see, everything that the trusted player has makes sense. So that's the configuration I'm going through. So I'll scroll up here, slowly scroll down so you can see what I've set up. And hit save configuration. Now, when we hit save and return, we're going to go back to the login screen because I changed the game master password. So now I am DM, or I could log in as a player, put in my password, and join game. Now let's look at what you get with the D&D system without making any purchases, modules, imports, or personal creations. Click over on the sidebar, Compendium Packs. There are two folders. Legacy is for the SRD or 2014 rules. Here you will find a journal entry that will give you the links to all the things that are included. This also includes a compendium of starter characters here. For now, we'll use this to show how to assign players to characters. So I only have one character or player right now. I'm going to assign them Akra, the Dragonborn Cleric. If I click this import button, it will import them to the character tab or actors tab. I can also grab one and drag it over and also put it in the actors tab. Let's go back to the compendiums. The modern content, this is for the SRD 5.2 or 2024 rules. Like the other, this has a rules journal that it has everything in it included in the SRD 5.2. Both of these are free, though quite limited. For instance, classes only come with one subclass, limited amount of spells. But for the DM, both include a large amount of monsters, tons of actors to be able to put into your game's world and enjoy a session of D&D without making any additional purchases. For most of my tutorials, I will be using the 2024 rules, unless specifically called out. Off camera, I added more players to the game world. I wanted to stick with the D&D theme, and I added the 5 kids from the original Stranger Things cast: Dustin, Eleven, Lucas, Mike, and Will. As you see, I went down here to the player list and clicked this little arrow here to basically open it up and collapse it. We're now going to review how to add an actor using the SRD actors from the legacy content. I will be doing a video on how to create your own character, but for now, we're just going to use the ones built in. So we're going to add a sorcerer. We're going to add a bard. Let's add a cleric, a ranger. Again, another way is to import it this way, and a warlock. We'll actually do a rogue. Get rid of the cleric. Not the most balanced party, but this is just for demonstration, right? All right, so now we need to assign players to the character actor. So for instance, if we were going to go here, we're going to right click on the actor and we're going to hit configure ownership. I recommend giving all players limited access. This will allow them to see the biography on the character sheet and be able to keep up with what's going on with their fellow players. If you give them the observer feat, they will actually be able to see everything on the character sheet. It's up to you how you would like, how much you want them to be able to see amongst each other. If you give them owner, they not only will be the owner and be able to see everything about the character sheet and be able to take actions by clicking and making changes. So I like to just keep everybody at limited, and then add everybody the specific owner to that actor. So we can go down to Mike, for instance, and we can make him the owner of this bard. If we go to the sorcerer, again, configure ownership. Let's make 11 the sorcerer. Also, again, setting everybody to limited. The ranger, configure ownership. We can make Lucas the ranger. The dwarf rogue, we'll assign that to Dustin. Of course, hopefully they've picked their own character by now. And then the warlock, we will go to Will. Hit save changes. Now they're all assigned. If you go down to the player list, let's go to Dustin. If we right click on the player list after expanding it, and we go to user configuration, we will see a user configuration options that every player will see the first time they log in. They can change the color of their dices, the dice if we're using a module to show dice, or their target if when they're targeting other creatures. Essentially, it's the player color. They can adjust it. They can put in the RGB code. They can change the percentage. They can put in the hex code, whatever they like. So leave that to them. If they want to put in player pronouns, the only thing they can't do is change player name. You can even upload image to represent the player avatar. But for now, we're going to have the player switch and take the ownership. Because they're the owner, they're going to see the character that's been assigned to them. And then hit save player configuration. Now, if we look down, it is Dustin, and you see that he owns or is the owner of Rizwin, the dwarf rogue. Now, the default actors, or I guess demonstration actors, free actors, have the dwarf rogue name there. You can remove that. And there now it will update. If we hit, I think we will have to refresh to get that update, but you'll see that the name will then just be the name of the character. So whatever is on the sheet here is what shows up next to the player. So let's continue to assign everybody. Again, the players can do this when they log in because they'll see this option, be able to make the changes they want here. And then when they go down, they'll see the characters they own. If we make a mistake or a player, let's say a character should not survive the adventure, we can go back to user configuration, clear the character they're no longer using. using and select the next one. Right now, because we just cleared it, it's not going to allow us to take the Ranger. We'll have to close, come back in, and because we didn't select something, it still stayed assigned to Lucas there. But Lucas, all right, go to Mike and Will. And now we have all of our characters and all of our players assigned to a character, or a character assigned to a player. Okay, now you're ready to invite players to your game. Let's go back to the game settings in the sidebar. You're going to click invitation links. Unless you're on the same network, you're going to want to use the internet option here. All you do is click into the field and it will copy it to your clipboard. You then paste it into whatever tool of communication you use. Make sure your firewall or hosting setup allows you for external connections. This should be a little green if you have everything set up correctly, or you will need to open ports on your router. I will cover hosting options in a future video. I'm making this on my local computer, and I don't run games with other players on this computer. As it is, I use a host provider. The trick to see what your players see is you could use the local network, open a in private browser. Let me do that here. If I bring an in private browser, put in the address, and then log in as one of the players, I can see the same setup, the setup from the player point of view. I will see that they have access to this character. If they want to change it, they could change it here. They could change their colors. And then they have access to be able to see all the other characters, but just their biography. Well, that's it for this tutorial. Though very basic, I hope it helps clear up some easy misunderstandings when you first get into Foundry VTT. It provides a foundation to the next few videos I'll be making in this series. Upcoming, I hope to help with the understanding of where your files are stored, hosting options, some of the premium modules for D&D, and one free module that will make it feel more like an in-person tabletop. Thanks for watching. If you like what I'm doing here and would like to continue to learn with me, make sure to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if it helped, and feel free to leave comments on how I can improve. Also in the comments, let me know what you're struggling with understanding or what you look forward to learning. Lastly, in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. And tell me, what was the first digital tool that changed the way you ran your games? That's it. May all your brews be tasty. Till next time.